Thank you, Jess. With our top three, including the three team representatives, which is Matty Roberts from Tickford Racing, Mark Dutton from 888 Race Engineering, and Ryan Walkinshaw from Walkinshaw Andretti United. I'll open it up straight to the floor.
Simon Chapman from Speed Cafe. Cam, a year-on-year massive difference. What's changed from here versus Bathurst last year?
A lot. Obviously, Bathurst last year was very poor for us. Everything was going wrong. Like I touched on, I was sick, was slow, had spindles break, and that really helped us, I guess, work out what we could do better and what we needed to change. And across that probably 3-month period after Bathurst last year, we worked really hard and improved our package. And from the second half of last year, we were really competitive. And I think that's kind of what's set up this weekend, to be honest.
It's one thing, obviously, to win one race and start off with such a dominant performance, but to clean sweep the whole weekend and be so dominant in qualifying, that's a massive achievement. I guess between Friday and now, how are you sort of feeling looking towards the rest of the year?
It's obviously a very special weekend to be able to clean sweep a whole weekend. Usually you win a race and the conditions will change and someone's car will work a little bit better. So the fact our car was working in all different conditions was awesome, and shows how good my team is around me to be able to give me a race car that can do that. So the real test will be, take it to different racetracks and see if we're as competitive as we are now.
Maddie, can you perhaps give us a little bit of insight maybe in terms of what's gone on behind the scenes to achieve this success?
I think it goes back further than, just the off-season. It goes back, from our Bathurst prep last year, and we sort of shifted our focus from then. We've gone from having to chase the 1%ers, the track down these guys, to, the 0.25% and 0.5% really, and that's what we've narrowed our focus. We've not looking so broad anymore and just really detailed on everything we've done. Certainly the off-season was good for us. Maintained all the current staff and continuity between engineering, Cam and Thomas. It's important these days to have that continuity between the team. So, zero turnover and good morale for everyone. So it's, I think we're in a good spot. We hit the ground running. A lot of focus went into this weekend, and hopefully we can continue that into Grand Prix and Tassie. New Zealand, sorry.
Is the team starting to sort of feel the rewards of condensing down to 2 cars now?
Absolutely. It's a huge workload to do 4. I've been a part of it, the whole time I've been at Tickford for, 22 years. The focus that we can now apply to the 2 main series cars, these guys have been running 2 cars for a long time, and they, you can see their focus just solely on the two cars is really good. These 2 guys, as in Cam and Thomas, they're focused together. They train together 2, 3, 4 times a week, and that continuity is such an important thing too.
Chaz, this weekend was maybe a bit of a messy one, having to, make up some ground in 2 of the races over the last couple of days. Can you just sort of sum it up, how was today, especially obviously having that spin and then having to fight your way through?
Yeah, after the spin, I actually kind of had a little bit of a laugh in the car. So I was facing the wrong way, and I thought, well, mistakes happen when you're pushing 100%. And I was really just looking forward to the race today to try and make up for it. So first couple of stints went pretty good, and we picked off a few with a pretty aggressive strategy there. And then those last 5 laps, I don't think it was very enjoyable for many drivers in the car on the slicks there. And I think probably every car on the grid probably ran off at least 5-6 times on some concrete apron out there. So I'm really happy to come from 10th in that race to hang on for 3rd. But for us, it was a lot of data from Wednesday to this weekend, through the weekend, trying the car in heaps of different configurations to get a good base for later in the year. I think we got some good things there. We just probably didn't package it all right together, this weekend. But saying that, don't take anything away from what Cam and Tickford did this weekend. That was, for me personally, probably some of the best driving I've ever seen Cam do. You're watching those qualifying laps and absolutely getting the most out of that car was really impressive. So he's, I think, safe to say he's probably the man to watch this year. So we've got a little bit of work to do in our squad, but we're keen for the challenge, and we'll see how we go at the next one.
Cam, I guess the TV obviously was looking at, the battles between Brodie and Brock and whatnot. But yeah, in that last bit where the rain was coming down, did you have any moments, I guess, where it sort of had a scare or not?
No, not really. I had a pretty good buffer, which was great, so I could kind of just cruise around. I think with 5 to go, I probably just backed off a little bit when it was getting heavier and just played it a little bit safe. But yeah, I didn't really have any moments.
Will, I guess, the Ford guys did dominate here last year as well. I mean, do you feel, comfortable, I guess, with how the season, the championship defence has started for you?
Yeah, to be honest, probably wasn't our best weekend. We were struggling a lot of the weekend with qualifying pace and that sort of stuff. But to go away with, knowing sort of where we're at and I guess a little bit unhappy to have a second, a third and a fifth, I'm really happy with. So, yeah, we just got to put our head down and head to Grand Prix. These guys were fast here last year. I remember Chaz was really fast and, so for us, probably had a bit of a tough round here last year and then now. So we'll head to Grand Prix and hopefully we can turn it around there and, try and win some races. But we'll see. Cam was mega this weekend. Such a fast car and he drove awesome. So we've got to put our heads together and try and beat him.
Dutto, obviously like a little bit of a frustrating weekend for Brock with, missing out last night and then what happened to Dave Cooper. I guess, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, some of that is just experience, obviously. The guys did track walk. They saw that there's some rutted out around here. It's a bit of a feature. So as much as, you need to be able to control those things. So Brock did an amazing job, but I think he was disappointed where he put the car when he got the puncture. And then the tie-up with Cooper Murray, unfortunately, Brock was a bit of a passenger with that one. Not a lot you can do. He dealt with it well, got on with the job. That's all you can really do.
Actually, just with you guys, Ben Gomersall, I think he said himself he was surprised. He wouldn't have thought he would be up on the podium. Was that a surprise to you guys that he came out of the block so strong?
Yeah, it definitely was. We didn't think he would be at that level that quick. We've had a massive off-season actually focusing on the Super 2s. We were supposed to give this fella next to me a brand new car and I sold it from underneath him, which he wasn't very happy about. So we could focus on building 2 Super 2 cars and giving them the best opportunity while not compromising the Red Bull cars. So, yeah, we were really pumped with how they've done and hope to build on that.
And Matty, you've been obviously, I think, since day dot at Tickford. How does this weekend rate for you guys? As the team?
Oh, look, I think, to cap it off today was pretty special. I was saying to Cam, I think that's probably one of the most emotional races last night. I think everyone could agree with me that, I think, apart from, us winning and these guys battling to the nail, it was actually really good for the sport that, it came down to the wire. I think it was, hats off to everyone, all the drivers really involved. And to be a part of it, I think it's probably one of the most memorable wins that I'll take away from my, motor racing career. So doesn't happen often. Like I said, at Gold Coast last year when we double podium, 1-2, I think I've only been a part of 2 or 3, here at Tickford, and to come away with a clean sweep, I've only ever done it once before, 7, so Barbagalla with our old mate Frosty, so it's kind of good to cap it off with this fella here, so he's in a good spot, so look out.
Cam, you've obviously started your full-time career in 2016, fresh off Tickford's Only Drivers' Championship, not just for you as yourself, but also for the team. Do you feel like this is the best year to challenge for a title?
Look, the last kind of few years, I feel like they've been all really good chances, but this is definitely the best we've started a year for sure, and we've got really good people around me, and everyone's working really well together. So yeah, definitely have a good shot at winning it this year for sure. But this is only one track. There's a fair few others to come, and got to make sure we're fast at all them. And I'm sure the guys next to me will rock up at the next round and be a little bit faster, and it'll be game on.
Yeah, and this is open to any of the drivers. What were your thoughts on the format with more racing, 3 races in pretty different conditions and just one practice session. Did you enjoy the challenge?
Yeah, I think it was great. More racing, the better. I think having 3 races on a weekend, it felt like you were busy and really achieved something on the weekend. I guess you got more racing laps. I think the fans got more entertainment as well over the weekend. So personally, I think it's a good format. 26 lap race was interesting, but I think the one practice session was good as well. Yeah.
I agree.
Cam and Will, have you had a chance to watch last night's race back at all and maybe offer any sort of thoughts with the benefit of hindsight?
I watched it and whimpered in bed all night. No, got no sleep.
I was just pretty happy that Will actually pushed me and helped me get the win over his teammate. So I didn't think Will had that in him, but he's a good bloke.
That's right. Yeah, they weren't real happy. I tried unsettling him and I just pushed him to the line. I think, as Cam said and on his post, the fans won. It was an awesome race and we need more of it in the category. I just, sort of hope that keeps on going and we can race like that because it's very entertaining.
Duddo, what did you think of the whole battle?
He shaked and baked with the wrong person, I think. No, it was good racing. You're never over the joyed when you're not the one who crosses the line first, but you still, the atmosphere was magic. The crowd was going wild. You could feel it. It was electric. That's what we need week in, week out.
And I don't want to maybe draw too close a comparison to NASCAR, but for Will and for Cam, you've been over there. That's probably their style of racing. Did that last night feel a little bit like that in terms of the rules of engagement?
I guess it was all going on last night. I think the thing with NASCAR, they can kind of do what they want to a certain degree, but there's respect between the drivers. So if you take someone out one weekend, they're going to get you back the following. So it's self-polices, and even like last night when I got Brock, it's none of us want that. We just want really hard racing and good rubbing and all that. So I feel like we can kind of go down that line of NASCAR. I'm not sure how they enforce it from a Motorsport Australia point of view, but I thought it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I felt like last night was actually a good, hard amount of racing and as respectful as it could be, apart from obviously what happened with Brock at turn 4. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just trying to police it. We're used to a certain set of rules, and then, if you change that, I think it's a great thing, and I think the racing was good, but it's just making sure it's even all weekend. It's that not if you're up front and the race is good that, get a penalty sort of thing.
Chaz, you watched that all happen in front of you. What was it like from your point of view?
I was hoping they all took each other out at the time, but they didn't get into each other hard enough. I don't know. It's definitely different racing this year than what previous years have been. So I'd probably just echo what these other guys said, that I hope it's just consistent. If it gets into other rounds and it seems to be different scenarios, then it's very hard to know how to race and how not to race someone.
Ryan, while we've got you, can you offer any updates on how things are progressing with Toyota?
Yeah, sure. Everything's going to plan at the moment. We should have something to show everyone towards the second half of the year. But yeah, it's progressing well. Toyota have been very, very helpful from Toyota Australia, Toyota US, and in Japan as well. So things are moving forward. We're pretty happy with where we are. Supercars have obviously been very, very helpful in the background as well, having gone through a lot of experience on trying to ensure that parity has been rectified from the initial start of Gen 3 to where we are today. And I think it's hard to deny that the racing is some of the closest racing we've ever had. So yeah, the program's going well so far.
Obviously it's early days, but you're pretty happy that, whilst you're balancing the Toyota stuff, you've still got Chaz up here on the podium and certainly in contention for wins.
Yeah, we are. I mean, it's one of those difficult things because the race team doesn't expand and don't suddenly have lots of resource that you didn't have yesterday. Most of the people working on the program are people that are working in the race team, and as particularly Triple Eight will know, the workload increase is pretty dramatic. So it is hard to ensure that you're able to put your all into developing these new cars, whilst also ensuring that you're still competitive on track. But Triple Eight managed to do a good job at that, and we're confident we can do the same.
Has Walkinshaw got any sort of involvement in terms of helping Toyota or Supercars decide who that second team will be?
Yeah, I think we've previously spoken about that. The initial decision was for us to come on board as their homologation team, and then they'll consult with us on who we think the second and potentially third teams will be for next season. But that hasn't been decided yet, and I don't think it's going to get decided for a little while yet.
Ryan, sorry. Do you have any thoughts on, I guess there's a bit of obviously a push for KRE to potentially do the Ford as well as the Chev engine. Do you feel like that should be allowed? And I mean, I gather you obviously don't want a universal engine supplier because I gather you guys want to do your own engines. Do you feel that's fair game?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll share my thoughts, and I think my thoughts are echoed pretty consistently down the paddock. We shouldn't have one engine supplier doing two different brands. It goes against the philosophy of what the sport is built upon. It also gives an unfair advantage to those two teams against another manufacturer. Those two manufacturers against another smaller manufacturer, for example. There's economies of scale, cost reductions and so on that come with that the single manufacturer may not have the same opportunity to gain. And if you do have a parity issue between those two different brands that are being manufactured by that same engine supplier, it causes a lot of friction there for the fans and for the teams involved in the sport as well. So we're totally against it. I'm quite confident if you would ask most of the other teams down pit lane that aren't either of those two homologation teams, that they'd be completely against it as well. It's not what this sport is built upon, and it goes against everything that we believe the sport should be looking at going forward.
Just one more from me. Duddo touched on it previously with Ben Gomersall. Just going back to Super 2, more for Matty and yourself, Ryan. The level of competition we saw this weekend, and probably the clean racing as well, was just phenomenal. It's got a lot of people talking already. Matty, from your point of view, how did you see it? What impressed you from the category on the weekend?
No safety cars for a start. I think that's a positive, and none of us took damage home, which is even better. Obviously, we were running 4 cars ourselves. So we've had a massive off-season, putting brand new cars together as well. So, look, I think the level of competition is super intense. It's really good to see. And these young guys that are coming through, they're pushing hard. They really are. They're training hard. We took our 4 to our training camp for the main series guys, and actually, some of them were keeping up with Cam and Tom, and I think you're going to see some stars emerge throughout the year. Albeit only 6 rounds, but look, I think there's 24 cars I think out there, and any one of them can put it on pole. It's a complete lottery, and I think it's a testament to the sport too. They've been pushing it very hard the last couple of years, and hopefully, these young rising stars can see the fruit in entering the main game, and they'll do that through wildcards or actually getting the main game seat. So I think we're going to see some stiff competition in years to come.
And for you, just quickly, Ryan, I know Matt Hillier does a lot for you behind the scenes, obviously at the workshop and things like that. How did he find his first weekend in a supercar?
I think he found it a little bit tougher than his first weekend in an 86. But these cars are hard to drive, and we want them to be hard to drive. We're trying to find the best drivers in Australia, and the best drivers are the ones that be able to drive them fast. And it's up to every single one of those drivers in that category to prove themselves. He had a tough first weekend. And it's something he's not been used to, having been so successful in the 86 series. So, we'll go through, we'll coach him. We've got Warren Luff and a good team around him to support him and get him up to scratch as quickly as possible. But naturally, these cars are difficult. It's a competitive Super 2 category at the moment. A lot of people have been racing in that category for a couple of years now in some cases. And at the end of the day, we've got to do the best job we can to give him the best car, and he's got to do the best job to prove that he's worthy of winning races in that car and hopefully stepping up into the championship in the future.
All right, gentlemen, I think that'll do us. Thank you very much for your time. Great job this weekend from all, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks at the Melbourne Super Sprint in Albert Park. Thank you.